Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Creatives of Windsor Podcast. I'm sitting down with Tom Lucier, the owner of Phog Lounge. Tom, thanks for coming on.
Oh, I'm happy. Happy to be out of my house.
So, how's everything going?
Things are crazy, man. They're always crazy. Here's the thing. So we're on, the Creatives Podcast. So the insinuation is how are things in general, but everybody's first inquiry is about work. But to me, it's like, it's not really work. I said this out loud to someone last night where I was there and the shift was ending and I got kicked around pretty good. And I just said, this didn't feel like a work shift. Like I had to be here. I didn't have the choice to leave, but this did not feel like work. So when people are like, how's it going? I tend to think about work, which isn't work. It's like these people I get to spend time with and be entertained by, especially the entertainers. So it's a weird thing that I sit with when I have conversations where I'm introduced to somebody. This is Tom, he owns Phog. It's like, I do a lot more than own a bar, but it's like this huge portion of what kind of guides me every day through everything with my kids. Like there's so much influence in that building. So yeah, it's funny, but we sat down and you wanted to know how to introduce me, right? And that's a thing. People introduce you by your job or by the thing you're good at. It's like, what? That's super weird. Like I've been thinking about that for about 10 years because 10 years into the business and I'm like, is this my identity? Because what if I don't have this place?
Yeah.
I'm not going to have that place at some point, potentially. I don't have anything better right now. I'm just saying it's weird when it's part of your identity, But anyway, things are good because they're always chaotic. I think I thrive in chaos. I like being around strange people with tons of different interests and people who know stuff I don't. So that is like my everyday, especially even the days I don't work. Like I find myself racing down there to see people who I know are going, or you get a sense where people are like, you going out Thursday? Are you going to that show? Well, I will. If you're going to go, I'll pop down. Just so much revolves around that place for me.
Does it ever feel like work? Does it ever feel like a shift?
Oh shit. Yes. Like Monday nights are so fun. It's like our busiest night. It's open mic night. People are like, what do you mean? It's cheap beer. It's $5 pints for everything on draft. So you got an $8 beer for $5. Have 4 of those. Like you saved some serious coin. So people who are beer nerds are coming out and they are surrounded by like every single person in the room is a performer. And they're super good at the moment. I don't know what is in the water. I don't know what happened during COVID. They are very talented. So those shifts are taxing because there's a lot of work to do. Tons of running around, tons of bussing tables. That's my job. That's why I'm there. I'm there for that. People spill something like, can you give me a rag? I'm like, that's my job. So there's a weird thing that happens across the table, across the bar, where people also feel like they're not at my work because they want it. Yeah. Do you have a broom? I broke a bottle. It's like, what the hell do you think I'm here for? Decoration? Like that's my gig. If you make a mess, I clean it up. So Mondays are nuts. But they're, and depending on the shows you book, if there's just a lot of running around, a lot of dishes to wash, or you're cooking food, you're in the back, those days feel like work because you're not around the people who are inspiring you to be there. I
think what you said is a testament to how you are with everybody. The fact that they feel like you're not working, like they're just hanging out with their friend.
I would like to think that. Some people definitely not. People come in, I'm a utility. Like I'm just there to get them a drink and shut the hell up. And that's fine. Cause like I go places, I'm not friends with the people who are there. They got good wings or whatever. I respect people that are that way, but it's we do have a the word community is so overused, but because it's not one big community, it's these weird pockets of the social strata of people that are all over the place, but all of them tend to be like how I just described. You got a rag, I have a spill over here. Like they want to clean it up.
Yeah.
Hey, the bathroom's out of toilet paper. Just give me some and I'll refill the thing. They're never like, yo, can you refill the... It's super rare if somebody's, that frank or forward or disengaged, socially to just say, go do a thing. They're always let me do it. Yeah. It's very weird. So again, yes, that feels good. It feels like we're doing something meaningful there and that people feel like they belong.
For sure.
I have a hard enough time feeling like I belong. I don't do anything. So it's the Windsor Creative, community, this whole podcast. I'm this arbiter of creativity. I have a room. You have a room. You have a room. This is not different. And people, there's a funny, that's why I love these interviews, is I get to like think about these things and just go on tangents.
Go for it. That's what people are here for.
Yeah, but people don't have they have some sense that I think I'm doing something, super important, and I know it's a room. There's lots of people all over Canada that have rooms and go, come and use this space, because most of them are creative. They play music, they take pictures, they do whatever. I don't do almost anything. I can write a good caption for a post on Instagram. But yeah, I love being surrounded by most of the most creative people we have around here, who are, by the way, you travel, and we got into this a couple weeks ago. Being around this country and in the US recently, we are untouched when it comes to creativity. Like, it's not close, because I've heard it. I've gone looking for it in other major cities in Canada, in all the provinces. It's not the same. That Detroit influence has done something to us. And right now, as I said about Monday night, it's at this height of production that is so varied and so interesting. And this is not a thing that happens elsewhere. We are so spoiled. Like, I think I've been saying this for like 16 years, and people are like, dude, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You've been doing this for like nothing. No, I know. I am very well attuned to the fact that we are spoiled. Oh, we'll just go see that show next week. It's like, bro, this guy's from Winnipeg. This looping saxophone playing, guitar playing, bass playing, keyboard playing, beat making dude that was at the bar last night. He's not coming back for a year, maybe. We'll see him next time. What the hell are you talking about? We are so spoiled. I don't care if it's a Tuesday night at midnight. If something speaks to you, like, you're here once, and there are not places like this in the rest of the country. And it's not because of me. It's because of what we attract creatively, because of the city that is our neighbor, because of this community that is like, very supportive in terms of music and art. So I feel like it is worth reminding people. Stop making excuses so you can watch your fucking television. I'm tired of that shit, especially now, because I know we are head and shoulders above what is being offered elsewhere in the country. Because it's not about other venues not being as good, and it's not about artists not being as good. We are influenced differently because of Detroit, but it is about the people who come to shows, and it's about all of that. And that is not a thing everywhere. People just take that for granted. Like, oh yeah, in Toronto, bullshit. That is so spread out. That city, it is not the same at all. It's not close. We're just the right size.
Yeah, I always say that, just the right size.
Yeah, you go to Halifax, it isn't happening. I know it isn't. There are brilliant people there who I admire dearly, who I wish lived here. They do not have what we have, period. So like, I've fallen ass backwards into this community at 23 years old when we opened the bar, and I've grown with it and learned zero creative skills, People are like, oh, don't be so hard on yourself. I don't play an instrument. I play basketball. So I have so much respect for what people do in this community. And I just feel like maybe my focus over the next little while is to just really hammer home to people, like, you don't know how good you have it. Even our corner, that I call it our corner. I'm not on a corner, really. Craft heads, villains, to have 3 places and more at times, Turbo on the corner with DJs. And there is not a 400 meter squared area that has this. That the variety, the level of thing, like Coffin Club on top of villains, like this is not being offered. I'm going to very cool places in Canada and the United States. It's super rare, and people are just like, they make so many excuses to not participate on certain days. I get it. You need to rest. I understand. You got to make dinner and put your kids to bed. I get it. But no one comes out and goes, oh man, I really shouldn't have gone. I shouldn't have gone and seen that amazing show and saw 10 friends. No one does that.
That's true.
Yeah. Don't spend money. Come out and get a cup of tea. Like, all these venues offer, opportunities where you don't have to spend a ton of money. Pay your fare, pay the cover, buy, something that justifies the air conditioning being on for the venue, and support, right? Like, to me, it's opportunity. It's about opportunity.
And you don't have to drink?
No, absolutely not. And this is like a huge push. My business partner at Meteor, so we opened Meteor just before COVID. It's an upstairs venue, holds 100 people, sleeker, cleaner, like more like the vibe of this room. And my business partner, Ian, is the lifeblood of that space. And it smokes. It is very good up there. The sound is amazing. The shows that we get up there are crazy. And I don't even know where I was going with that. Oh, we opened that bar and people were like, you're nuts. Like, I don't know how this is going to work. People come to shows like crazy over there. So I didn't even put Meteor in that mix. You got, on any given night, there's a show. Meteor, Phog, Craft Heads, Villains, Coffin Club. Who else? Like, there's an art gallery. There's the Capitol Theater. We're so lucky. And to me, those opportunities are what it's about. Just... You could be dead tomorrow. Hello, listener. You could be dead tomorrow. This is how I wake up every day. Like, it could be done tomorrow. So I'm not making excuses on why I can't go. Oh, this is the train of thought. So Ian made a push to have non-alcoholic alcohol.
Yeah, which I saw those tequila bottles. Those are very cool.
This is a difficult market for anyone listening. This is a very difficult market to deal with in Ontario, especially in Windsor. You go to Detroit, I went to a liquor store. You just reminded me that I have to send this to Ian. I went to a store that I go to all the time called the Metropolitan. It's in Indian Village. It's this killer spot. The guys who used to own Gold Cash Golds opened it. Super smart about beer and wine, curated, kind of like, it's a grocery spot. You can get a bit of food, but the beer and the booze and the bitters and the fancy stuff you want to make at home, but this huge selection of non-alcoholic booze, like non-alcoholic gin. What the hell? Do I know what it tastes like? No. Do I want to buy 26er of it to find out? No. So there are, there's liquor reps that go around and have you taste things, and there's beer reps who come and let you taste things. There's no one pushing non-alcoholic alcohol, saying, hey, this is a product, this is a growing market. People who don't want to come out and get mashed or don't drink have chosen not to have drinks. Yeah. They shouldn't be stigmatized. You should be able to come out and see a show and not just have a cup of water. You should have an option that's delicious. Yeah. And there's a million in Detroit. There are these venues over there I absolutely adore, the owners, the staff, and they have amazing products. Because I don't feel like I'm driving people around in Detroit. Yo, I need some weird soda, or I need, So Ian has been making that push across the street, which is something that we need to do at Phog. But again, it's tough. It's like, what are we going to carry? You can't just go get it from Detroit. I know it's non-alcoholic, but everything there is like distributors bring it to the venue. Here is a case of non-alcoholic this. Here is a case of this weird soda. You can't just go buy cases of it. It's not a thing. And if you could, it would be way more expensive. It would be inefficient. So you don't have to come out and get, uncomfortable. And you don't have to feel like, oh, I'm just holding a water. Just hold the water. Come and see your friend's band. Pay the cover. Support the artist. We just want more people being involved. And I just want more people taking advantage of the time they have, whether it's in Windsor or on Earth, to participate and experience some really cool shit, because it's not happening in the rest of Ontario or Canada. It just isn't.
Yeah.
That was a very long
soliloquy. Hey, it's all good. People are here to listen to you, not to me. So that's good. Like you say that you don't do anything, like you just have the space. But when I think about like myself, like say I have an idea, I want to do this, I want to do that, like Phog, and translates to you, is always the first place my mind goes for, like, I have this crazy idea, like I want to do bands, I want to do art, or I want to do this or that. And I know that, like, without question, you'd be like, yeah, sure.
I'm glad that's what you think of. It's, I don't know why the reluctance that people have about how space is used. Our neighbors at the Capitol Theater, I love them. Sheila Wisdom, who used to be a city councilor, who's now the head of Windsor Symphony Orchestra, and I think she just announced she's retiring, which sucks because she's super cool and I like having her next door. But they just got these seats redone in, maybe it was 5 years ago. But this was money that I helped them secure with this like grant that was started as a grant proposal for Phog Fest. Let's involve a not-for-profit, because apparently, don't get me started on this conversation, but the only way you can get money to support art is if no one's making fucking money. That's a great plan, guys. I wish funders would listen to a thing like this. But I had to partner with them as we get a bunch of money and we both benefit. So again, maybe I make a fee for the administrator of Phog Fest, but then we sell tickets and we do Phog Fest like we used to do it outside, and it's normal, and then the symphony gets money. What it turned into is the symphony gets a lot of money. End of story. Phog gets dick. So that's what happened. I'm okay with it. I don't think I've ever said a word about it till now. That's like an 8-year-old project. I've never even spoken out loud about it. I had to do research, give tons of ideas on how that money could be used at the Capitol Theater, technologically, ways that they could benefit and improve online. And they got this money. So good. Awesome. I put some effort into that and then I got nothing. Fine. My neighbor who does important work got money, and a lot of money went into fixing infrastructure, new stage, new seats, whatever. So back to how people use space. They're terrified to have a show that you would want to have in there, because you're just a young maniac and your friends are just going to pour beers over each other's heads at a show. It's like, I know that's what's in the back of their heads, because I tried to book events and they're like, the new seats. I'm like, what? My customers' asses are worse than yours? I don't understand. And it's a fear of this like misbehaving, crazy, that is a portion of nightlife. Let's be real. But anybody, especially an elderly person, can have an accident in your seat and ruin it way worse than someone who spills a drink. Sorry, right?
Yeah.
They could die in a seat. It's just funny to me, because I think if you have a space and someone's bringing something interesting that makes my life interesting, makes everybody involved experience a new thing, you say yes.
Yep.
Is business that easy to come by that you can just say no to people's projects? I mean, part of it is that you have to have human beings in your room, and you're not going to survive as a ska venue. No, this isn't New York. There's not 8 million people living here.
Yeah.
You have to involve everybody, all things. So when someone has an idea for me, how much cleanup is it going to be? Is it going to damage walls? Is it going to damage windows? Like, it's usually never. No, those are never ideas that people have. And I'm concerned that not enough people think the way you do, which is I'm going to have a theme, I'm going to have an opening, I'm going to have a closing, not enough people take advantage of the fact that all spaces that hold events should be thinking the way we do. Mm-hmm. Because get a contract, have something that says, if you do this, you pay for it. Fine. Figure out your way to do it, but let people, make your space different. Yeah. I feel like that's way more interesting. The people whose shows I go to that aren't at my venues tend to be those types of things. Those are the things I get excited about. Like, oh, that's weird. They're going to do it in a weird location, or they're going to transform a location I'm familiar with into being something unfamiliar. Yeah. So yeah, I've always loved that people I get very stoked when people have ideas that transform our space completely. It's very rare.
You think it's rare? Yeah.
It's very rare. I have these 4 goofball friends who are plotting. They want to have a night, like a fog out night, where they fill the building steadily with fog machine.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, that's a very special crowd, because my staff complain about it when it's happening. I'm like, it's just like as if a bunch of bros came in with too much Axe body spray on for 8 hours. Like you're gonna acclimatize, and it's fine. I love when it's like that. When certain people light the space specifically for a show that's totally being crushed by fog machines, I love those nights.
Yeah, when they switch it up a bit.
Oh my God, they're so great. So these idiots want to do this like weekly. I'm like, that's not happening. Because too many customers who just want to come have a beer will be like, what the hell is going on in there? But once a month, I'm actually, they think I'm totally against this, but I'm totally 1,000% for it. I'm like, if you can convince other numbskulls that want to sit in that smell, let's do it. It's like a giant vape, right? It's like sitting inside the mouth of a vape person. That's it. And I think it would be fun if you have something else besides that, right?
Yeah, you can't just have that, yeah.
Is it a dance party? Is it a whatever? So, yeah, it's funny because it's just, the stuff is all these topics are always relevant, always, like within a day. Mm-hmm. This was yesterday that they were telling me this. Yeah, transform space. And I would encourage people, even new venue owners or people thinking about getting into this or letting people do stuff in your room, like figure it out. If it's a waiver that they have to sign that they're going to repair, replace, put it back the way it was, do it.
Yeah.
But let people do something with your space, because it lets you lean into your space as your space when it's just yours.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't get old.
Yeah. No, it's cool. Yeah. You know, Brian, he lets you do it at Craft Heads too. He lets people in there, and Villains
that guy
upstairs.
Turns that whole building upside down for shows, right?
Yeah, it's great. And Phog, like I've had shows at other places, but I would say like every time I have a show somewhere else, I have another. Like I always have like Phog somewhere else, Phog somewhere else, Phog somewhere.
Yeah, well, we've been there a long time.
Yeah,
you know that it's a place that people are familiar with now. We're in our 20th year, and it should be like that at this point.
Yeah.
Like we care about you making money when you do a show. We want you to sell your photography. We want those other artists to sell stuff. And we get geeked. That's why we don't take money. We don't take money from sales of art ever. We don't get a percentage. We don't have a fee for you to come in. What happens is every 10 years, there's enough holes in the wall that we have to patch it and paint it. We don't make you do it. Yeah. I would love to have that set up, but it just seems like so much extra. It's so unnecessary. We want people to make the space interesting. The art shows change every month, approximately. So every month there's a new art show on the walls. It's all for sale, and we keep none of the money. So if you pay us, you decide if it's cash and carry. So because we have a lot of people, a lot of transient freaks that are from all over the world who are there for one night, and they go, I must have that. I want it. It's like, you're going to give me $400 right now, but I have to take it right now. It's like, take it. The artist would rather you take it and have a hole in their show than not pay for this today because you're not ever coming back.
Yeah.
So we recognize that. We collect the money. We hold it for you. We give it to you when we see you. I don't know why people are not beating our doors down to have art shows and photography shows, but they're not. Like right now, I think we're booked till November, but that's only like, what is that? June, July, August, September, October.
4 months.
That's only 6 artists.
Yeah.
We should be booked until like 2027.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. And I would, if I opened it up that way, you'd have to say, oh shit. Well, give me another show in 8 months, and give me another one a year from then. And then you can release your hold if you wanted to, right? That's what would have to evolve.
Yeah.
But I really would like to encourage people, even group shows. You know the value of a group show.
Nothing's better than a group show because you don't have to do anything and it's packed.
Yeah, it brings a lot of people in, but it brings a lot of eyeballs to look at your art that otherwise might not.
Yeah.
Hence, art galleries. It's not just one dude or one woman. It is a collection of lots of different artists. So those group shows are fantastic.
Yeah.
And they do well, and people sell lots of work. There's a lot of art sold at that show.
Uh-huh. And a lot of those, it's their first time doing like a show too. Everybody's always like, thank you so much. Like I've never had my work in a show. And like this past one in March, everyone's like, this is my first time showing work since COVID.
That's important. That to me is that outreach is something I can't really do. I got 3 kids.
Yeah.
I could make more time and do that outreach, but you're on the ground. Like if you're going to other art shows, you're the one who should do that.
Yeah.
I have real issues with event running. I don't take offense. I just wish there were more conduits that would take control of a thing, of a concept, of a type of show, not even an art show, but any kind of thing, and own it. Be the organizer, be the person who reaches out, has the tendrils that is already a part of the thing.
Yeah.
Like randomly someone is doing a craft night right now. They haven't done tons of outreach to, let's say, put a flyer up at Michael's or whatever to say, hey, we do this thing downtown and we take over this huge area and we just make stuff. But someone has taken ownership of bringing the stuff every Wednesday, shout out Renee, bringing all this stuff and making it a possibility. Not enough people do that. No, not enough people it's like expected that I'm going to do it. It's like, I can't be there every day for 5 hours running an event. Like the coaster throwing, this silly, ridiculous event I created months ago. It is like a goddamn wrestling match. It is psychotic. It is so loud, screaming, fun. We're throwing coasters at Targets once a month, but I have to be there. I have to be there from the beginning to the end because I made the thing and it's mine to, take care of. Not enough people do that with their own thing. I don't give a shit what it is. If you're excited about it, other people will get excited about it. I will get excited about it if you're excited about it.
Yeah.
Just come and do a thing.
I think people are I think they think it's overwhelming and they're scared. Like reach out, like I'll give you tips on how to put a show together with other people. Like I got a pretty good process now and it doesn't take too much time out of my day to put that stuff together. I've streamlined, group chats.
Yes.
And just like, how I find
That's
people.
good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just like I have like all kinds of like little things how to find people. Like first thing I do is I'll go through an old poster and I'll be like, who was in the last one?
Smart.
Boom. And it doesn't have to be my show. I can go find another show that happened in Windsor and go through their poster.
Of course.
Be like, who's on this poster? You know what you do? You go to Greg Maxwell's Instagram page and you go to his page and you just scroll through and you find artists and bands because he posts every show poster he does, which is everything that's happening in the city. Yep. And you just go pick people. Oh, that guy looks cool. Oh, that person looks cool, And then you start to put it together and then you say like, ask 3 friends. Ask 2 friends, and then you put it in the group chat, and then you just kind of get the ball rolling. And
that's a good idea for a group art show. And again, I'm thinking in terms of like it could be anything. The poetry community right now is fractured again. It wasn't for a while. And that needs like a major shot in the arm, some leadership, some vision. Right now it's like happening monthly, but I've seen it be so healthy that even if it's a student, like Marty Gervais and there's all these other cats that I know, Dan Wells at Biblioasis has this community around publishing. There's tons of other groups. Dan Lockhart, this guy I went to grade school with, is this phenomenal Indigenous poet and writer. But those folks, I want them to own a thing, not come to a thing.
Yeah.
But they're busy. They got lives too. But that's my like desire, is that influential, passionate, creative people take some ownership of a thing and put some real energy behind it. And not just for their benefit. Obviously, we have this, human beings have this thing where it's like, well, what am I going to get out of it? But it's so many people you can inspire, and have a hand in more creativity by just showing that extra bit of passion, organizing an event once a month, once every 3 months, once a week. And just own it and do a thing. Come to us. And even if it doesn't fit at Phog, it could go to Meteor. If it doesn't suit our spaces, go ask Jeff at Villains. Go ask these other spaces. Because like they want cool stuff happening in their rooms.
Yeah.
It makes bartending a shift way more interesting. And that's why we run places like this.
I've never been told no asking for a show. Never once. You, Milk, Craft Heads, Villains,
I miss
Pressure
Milk.
Drop.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I miss, there are some places that I do miss because of what they offered.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Milk was like old Milk, like
yeah.
What was his name? Angelo. Like Angelo.
City councilor.
Yeah, like that Milk was similar to Phog.
Absolutely.
Very similar.
Inspired us. I mean, I didn't know a damn thing when I was 23. I had a magazine coming out of college. So my ex-wife and I had a magazine immediately when we got out of school, journalism school.
Yeah.
Which I did not graduate, by the way.
Did you go to St. Clair?
Yeah. And I was just so hungry to do a magazine. And then you realize doing a magazine is just being an ad salesperson. It sucks. You want to be the creative. It's way fewer hours. You're not designing ads. Like my ex-wife, she was like, had to do all the ad design, like, rudimentary in 2000, like Photoshop, or what the hell is the program we used to use to lay out a newspaper? That was on her. I'm like, I went to the same classes and got good marks, but I'm like, nope, I don't want to do that. Then I'm pounding the pavement. Yeah. I'm pounding the pavement selling ads to the tanning salon guy. It's like,
that's not fun.
Chasing that dude down for money, like so that I can justify printing these pages where I'm writing about the art community, pretty much. So the interviews and all that stuff became secondary, which is what sucks about media. And when my friend and advertiser, Frank in City, he used to own a cafe that was located where Vito's Pizzeria is right now. It was called Plato's Blend. That place kicked ass. It was so good, and it was because of Frank. And we became buddies, and we'd hang out in old Walkerville where it was still terrifying. By the way, Walkerville ain't all that right now anyways. It's still, you be there at the right time, it's still terrifying. So it still got stank on it from when we used to hang out in dirty Walkerville. There was a bar called Karma. Paul Chanko, who owned Chinoso's, he had a bar called Karma, and it was where the old Twisted Apron was. Huge space. So we would just walk from Plato's Blend down there, hang out in the hood, and then we would go downtown, and we would end up eventually at Lift. So Lift is Phog. And those guys were amazing guys, very chill, but like us. Yeah. Way cooler than us, way cooler than me back then. They were amazing. They just left. And they were like, hey, you guys hang out here a lot. You want a bar? It was like, you can ask the landlord, like you'd have to be the first one to ask about the lease. And that's what we did. We were like, oh, do we want to play a bigger role in the art community? I didn't know a damn thing, but I'm like, do I want to keep selling ads and writing, or do I want to book shows and try and like, you know, find a new position in the community, right?
Sounds more fun.
It was, and it is more fun.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just, it's a very, I don't know. We just, again, we lucked into that situation. I love that it happened because it's transformed my entire life. But yeah, I would rather be just getting paid crazy money to write stories about stuff like that. But it's not going to happen.
Yeah, the last guest 2 guests ago I had on was Dave Hunter, who ran the Drive for however many years.
Oh, yeah.
And he sells ads. That's what he does. That's his thing.
Yeah.
That's what he's good at, and that's what he loves.
Yeah.
And that's why that magazine, like, he wasn't there to write stories. He was there to, like, his passion is selling.
Well, see, and that's what, but exactly. You need someone who is pumped about something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that magazine was started by Kevin Kavanaugh, who was a photographer.
Yep.
It was an outlet. It was a vehicle for his outrageous talent. And black and white photography, amazing cover photo, black and white. And that's like, they've kept that theme throughout, right?
Yeah, it never changed.
But he wrote, you know, style pieces, or he had people write it. He worked tirelessly on that thing. He was so gassed when he finally stepped away from it. And the office used to be on Karen Avenue, downtown. There's that Karen Avenue overpass where the trains go underneath, or used to. Maybe they don't anymore. And yeah, he started that magazine as an art project, and it, you know, developed into again, someone with a passion for selling. That's who belongs in a magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely did not want to be selling ads and chasing people for money, especially now. Like, the climate now is impossible. Anybody who can run a magazine right now, I'm like, yo, that takes so much effort. I have so much respect for people who can do it. Even if the content I hate, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's still,
I have a lot of respect for people who can just do it.
Yeah, for sure. So you said it was called Lift before. When was it the Eclectic Cafe?
I did the math on this recently, and I forget.
Like 90s?
Well, I've been there 20 years. So people are like, oh, Eclectic was here forever. It's like, no, it wasn't. It was like maybe 10, 9, 11. Like, it was a bunch of years, but it was not, it pales in comparison to how long we've been there. And people still come in like, I miss Eclectic. Man, fuck Eclectic. We've been here a long time. Like, you can get a black bean burrito wherever. I get it. You miss it. That's 30 years ago. Are you 60? Come to a thing, have a poutine. This is the new energy. Like, get behind it. Yeah. But for real, that's obviously what goes on in my head for 10 seconds, and I'm not a prick. I actually realized the only reason, this is the truth, the only reason Phog and the strength of the community that's around that place and Meteor and all these other places is because of Eclectic. Like, they were doing something no one was doing, and pardon me, and we inherited that entire community. Was it as friendly? No. Was it as collaborative? No. It just wasn't. Anyone would like to have that argument with me, we can. It was very, there's a lot of gatekeeping. There's a lot of unhealthy competition.
Yeah.
Competition's fine. This was not good. People tearing down other people's posters. Like,
people still do that downtown.
Pause there. You won't believe. Again, everything is so localized and so current. All these topics.
I haven't put a poster.
Last night I saw city workers in a truck, high-vis vests, scraping posters off of the telephone poles at University and Polisher.
Yeah, like, that's gonna make it nice.
Why am I coughing?
You okay?
Yeah. But that is like that corner like encapsulates opportunity. And that's where you should have posters. We have these huge poster knobs. I don't know what you call them. They're these big towers, these conical things. So I wouldn't say conical, they're cylindrical. That one is on Riverside and Olette. The other one's on Wyandotte and Olette, outside of the Shoppers Drug Mart, which is like a goddamn war zone right now. No one is going there that's going to a show. And that's where we're supposed to put our posters for our events.
Oh, that's completely, the spot.
Yeah. Completely stupid. No one cares. It's just there. It would be more work to remove it and more money, but you're going to scrape the poster. You're going to pay a city employee at 4 a.m. This is when did I leave the bar last night? 3:45. 2 people in a truck scraping posters off of the corner where there are a confluence of like 5-6 venues.
Yeah. Like go pick up trash or something.
Who? Who the hell? Who's that for? Who is complaining that that's there? The people who live above these places, who live there because of what is around them.
Yeah.
The fuck is happening?
I haven't put a poster up for a show.
This has been happening for years.
Yeah.
Yes, but to see 2 city workers, not like someone from St. Leonard's who's being punished, who has to go and take gum off of the sidewalks or scrape or do the posters, not some like crotchety old dude from the apartments behind us. City workers being paid to remove this shit. It's insane. It's insane. I don't even know where I was going before you brought that up, but I just I saw it last night and I'm like, I'm making a post about this.
Yeah. No,
I'm still going to.
It's crazy. I haven't put a poster up for a show since like 2016 because it gets ripped down in a day.
Yeah.
I never understood it. When I have shows at Phog, I put posters up in craft heads.
Yeah.
I put posters up in
You couldn't, that's how this came about. You couldn't do that in 2003. No.
Everybody
they would tear them down in the venue. It's like, bro, do you not understand that your space is not the only space? It took me a long time, too long of a time to realize people aren't coming down here just to be in your room. Mm-hmm. They are coming down the same way you would to be entertained by unique spaces, several of them.
Yeah.
Critical mass creates an interesting space. So when I realized that, I started getting really angry at the places that were ripping posters down, which, by the way, was all of them.
Yeah?
Oh, absolutely. And we would say intentionally, hey, if you have a poster for a thing, send your bands, send your whoever to put them up at our place. And they'd look at me like, I'm not offering you the same thing. Right? Oh, yeah. Okay. They of course wouldn't, but I'm like, bring posters for your events. When people know that there's stuff happening and it takes away from, Amazon Prime, that's good for all of us.
Yeah.
It is good business. You are a fool if you think everyone is just coming to your space. Yeah. This goes for Droulard right now. This goes for people who are, building up Ford City. Yo, I know you think it's you against the world. It ain't. Get your head out of your ass. It is all of us. It is downtown Ford City, Walkerville, everywhere. Anyone who is contributing to that arts community, it is one.
Yeah.
You give people reasons to come out. I'm happy when Pressure Drop is busy because they got DJs in a container restaurant in the alley or whatever. Good. I'm not afraid to tell people that that's happening. Yeah. The more people that come into the fray that you introduce through different means, whatever mean is the least intimidating, is great. And then they slowly can build. But not having a poster up on Droulard for something downtown, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And vice versa. It's totally absurd. The more you can tell people that's happening outside of your space, it all comes back.
Yeah. The more busy one place is, it's just going to make, if Villains is busy all night, you think they're going to stay there all night? No, they're going to go to Phog.
And it's funny because there are communities that feel very loyal to space, which doesn't make sense. Yeah. They're loyal to people, but ultimately they're loyal to space. They're really comfortable to where they are, what their surroundings are, the price of the beer or whatever. And that's fine. Be comfortable where you are. But for the most part, yes. If that place is full, they're going to bounce around.
Yeah.
You think I'm going to go stay in one place? That's not happening.
No. And like, yeah, too, like, yeah, I'll go to a show at Pressure Drop for 2 or 3 hours, then I'll get bored. But you want to stay out. Oh, I saw a poster on the window. Go to Phog. Look, there's still bands playing. Yeah. Like, you know, it's just good for everybody.
And it happens. There's so many nights where it's like, I'm surprised we were busy. Why? Because Craft Heads was busy and Villains was busy and Coffin Club. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of people in the city. It's Friday. They should be coming to do a thing. Well, how's that a mystery? We just, our expectations are so low, but I think, and again, if it sounds like I'm complaining or griping, I am not. This is the healthiest the community's ever been. I just need more people to realize, don't get lazy. Don't get complacent. Don't be spoiled. This can go away. I've survived like 3 long stretches of drought, you know, like financial, like the whole country has a financial drought. Yet we, you know, struggle through that big time. So just don't take it for granted. I just love how strong the creative people are right now. This is the perfect time to be doing this podcast. Like it absolutely, in this city, it absolutely is. If you said, who would you recommend? I sincerely could give you a list of 200 people. No problem. I could probably spell their first and last names because I see them all everywhere. They're commenting. They're engaged online. They are at shows. They're running tabs. I have to write their name down. I see their credit cards. I know 200 people you could have on here. 200. Easy. I'm not exaggerating.
That's good.
Yeah,
and I
it's
think
a very
so
good time for this city for creative people, and me not being one.
Yeah.
Which is why I think I have a better opinion of, you know, of as an observer. I can see it because I can't do a damn thing.
People have said, like, you're going to run out of guests. I was like, are you crazy? I was like, my guest list, before I even started, I put a mock list together. And like you said, there's a couple hundred people on it. Like, oh, I won't touch this list for, I can do a decade. I wouldn't have time to get through everybody.
That's true.
You know, like if I do it every 2 weeks, that's only 24 people a year.
Yeah. Like you're not getting close.
Not
and then you
even
might
close.
want to have a repeat where it's like, hey, let's check back in with, where are you going to find that?
Yeah. Like I'm struggling. Like there's people I'm like, I want to have you on, you know, but I can only do so many of these. Like I'm just doing it for fun.
Right.
But I'm definitely not concerned about running out of guests. I'm concerned with like not having enough people on that I want to have on right away.
Well, I have a question because you've done it on your own with business, like selling your stuff, having a book, but have you ever accessed funding? Because this is I swear to God, when I say this happened yesterday, these all happened yesterday. When I'm like, oh, yesterday it was yesterday. Yesterday, the dude from Winnipeg came, and my friend Garth, who's a filmmaker, and like video editor for the Raptors, this guy's the best. He has a real interest in fringe music scenes, and skateboarding and whatever. And he's an OG. He's been around a while. You're not old, Garth. And he got to talking about funding with this guy from Winnipeg. How the hell did that conversation happen? It's a conversation that artists need to have. And this guy from Winnipeg's like, well, there's federal funding and there's this funding and there's this and there's that. And they had a real great conversation. And every time it comes up, it drives me mental because we are completely ineligible. But I like when people who can access it do. But have you ever like city funding you've gotten?
Yeah, so the ACHF grant, like the city grant, which is a grant like you spoke about at the beginning of the podcast. You can make money when they give you money, which is
Go
great.
figure.
So they're awesome. That's the best grant because it's easy. Like, so I got that for Stoked on Tofino, the book I released last year.
You did?
At Phog. Yeah, they paid for that book.
Oh, I love that.
The city of Windsor paid for that book.
Well, they should have.
And the show, like the pieces and everything.
Oh, man.
I got a $4,000 grant for that.
Amazing.
Covered all of it. I applied for this podcast, but I got denied for the podcast actually. So the podcast I funded myself.
Well, because gear, right?
So yeah, they don't cover fixed costs. Like they can't pay for this. They can't pay for the microphone. They can pay for like, so for the show, they paid for the book printing. They'll pay for
interesting,
like the album, like CDs getting printed. They paid for me to build the frames for the show because that's getting people from the community, I guess, to go and see it.
Right.
But for this, like the only thing they would have paid for this would be like an editor fee if I needed somebody to edit it.
Interesting.
Or like a host fee, or if I paid you to come on.
Right.
So, but you know, I'm applying for. I think I have an idea for another book. I'm going to apply again. They're like, yeah, apply again. For sure.
You have a product and a proven, way of doing it. Why not?
They have a decent amount of money. They give out, what do they give out? I think they give out $60,000 twice a year.
Yeah.
And they got asked for $250,000 at last one.
Oh, well, they should be giving way more.
Yes, they need to bump that number up for sure.
I would love you to have a conversation. Like it would be like you can talk to idiots like me forever, and we can just like wax, we could just keep going about our experiences and how we feel. But it would be really good to have a person that I don't even know who the hell you would get. Someone with a breadth of knowledge about funding for artists, particularly in the city, because Windsor is the lowest arts funding.
Yes, it is.
By a enormous margin in Canada for any city. It's not close.
Yeah.
And we're like, thank you for the 60,000. Fuck you. This is like way less than it should be. And there's more people that are engaging in arts as creators and as consumers. You need to raise that shit. Sorry, it's way overdue. And what people don't know is that and this is the problem. So you have to interview someone who knows this information, which I'm about to butcher.
Yeah.
When the art gallery moved,
Yep.
It was around that time. This is if there's research to be had. The city divested heavily in that building. They were like, what? We just spent a fortune on this thing. You're taking away how much money? Like, we're talking about millions of dollars. And they took money from the symphony. And, oh man, maybe it was the Capitol Theater as an organization.
Like they were funding them and then they pulled back and they said, we're not giving you this anymore.
Never came back. So people are like, oh, this is good money. It's like, but no, there was like hundreds of thousands. There's a weird number that sticks in my head. Like it's been like 17, 18 years, but I think $700,000 was divested.
Wow.
Annually. And that might just be the art gallery. It might not even include the other things that they took money away from. It's like, this is unacceptable, but our memories are short. What are you, 27?
Yeah, I'm 27.
Good guess.
That was a good guess.
So why would you know that?
Yeah,
you weren't paying attention to arts funding when you were 16, but this is perspective matters. History matters. So it's like, where'd that money go? Why don't we have that money anymore? This is total shit. We now more than back then, we need another $700K to support what's going on in this scene. Like we are an inspired city. We just are. I talked about it at great length earlier.
Yeah, it would be like the second guest I had on, Christina Bratt. She is like,
she's cool.
She's the grant master. So we talked about it on the podcast. Like she's gotten a lot of grants and she knows where to go for them. But that's like a wealth of knowledge. That's like hard to come by. Like it took her years to learn like how to apply for these grants and write them and where to go and how to find them. Like it should be so much more accessible.
Yeah.
Like that Windsor one,
I agree, is
a great grant, and the way you apply for it is nice. It's smooth. It's real. They give you it. They just need more money to give out. Mm-hmm. That's the thing with it. Yeah. The way it runs great, and what they give for is great. It's just, how about like 120 twice a year instead of 60 twice a year?
Yes,
that would make
to start.
To start. Yeah,
I'm not kidding. The money right now, it's like per taxpayer. I think it's like $1 per person per year. What the hell? $1 to arts funding for the entire set? Like, give me a break. And I would even say, Tecumseh, you're coming in to enjoy our stuff, and LaSalle and all you other poachers, you give us $1 too, and not $1. You give us $5. Like,
Yeah, because what do they have? They come to us.
Absolutely.
So,
but I would love to see that raised. So I have very mixed feelings about funding, again, because I love seeing people flourish with the funding they get, no matter where it leads them, no matter where that project lives or exists. It doesn't have to be anything Phog or Phog adjacent. But it is infuriating. So the frustrations that I don't typically air, I gotta eat, right? I gotta eat too. And I'm scrambling around like this scrub, driving this piece of shit, and I don't make money. I am the most low maintenance person you might know. I don't need a lot. If I go out of town, I can stay in a place that's $70. People are like, God damn, that's terrible. It's like, I'm going to be in that bed for 6.5 hours and I'm going to be out the rest of the day. Yeah. I am easy to please, but would not be the worst thing in the world to not be, a starving non-artist. And people have this vision of bar owners. My friend Colleen, who owns Average Joe's, we laugh so hard about this. This is the perception of what what a venue owner, how they exist in the world. It's like, no, we want people to walk out with as much money as they can all the time, and getting the shit end of the stick most of the time. Someone pissed in the fucking doorway the other day. Pardon for all the like children and grandmas listening.
Yeah, you can swear.
Inside.
I
showed up to work. Huge puddle of piss in the front. And I mean, that could just be a disgruntled person that just doesn't like me. But piss all over the door. It was dried. It was just the stinking puddle.
How does that happen? Like, what time did they do this?
In the middle of the fucking day. Yeah, because we don't have neighbors across the street, really. Nothing ground level.
What, did somebody like break in?
No, they just took a leak, like stood in the front hallway. So then I'm like, oh, I guess I'm not opening the bar for 15 minutes. Go in, bleach, soap, hot water, boiling water, scrubbing the front door, scrubbing the pavement, washing it out to the street, and people looking at me like, what are you doing? I'm like, and as they go by, I'm like, yeah, someone pissed in my doorway. Yeah, awesome. Guarantee someone saw him do it. Like, there's human beings that move around.
Yeah.
But anyway, as a general downtown community, it's terrible. Like, we do not have a solidarity as a downtown community, people who live there and business owners. That's a big downtown boo-hoo. But anyway, that's what I get to do for minimum wage plus tips. I work for what my staff work for. So if I'm not getting hours, I'm not getting paid. So when I see, as an example, you get the Windsor Symphony, love them. They do important work. I have friends that play with the symphony, probably 10. They're very gifted. They get lots of funding. They're eligible for lots of funding.
Yeah.
How are they different than my bar? Outside of, leave all of your morality outside.
Yeah.
Leave your judgment outside. How is it different than what I do?
It's not. You're just a bar.
Well, they have a bar.
Exactly.
It's all about volume. It's the distribution of where the money comes in. Theirs is tickets is up here. Alcohol and food is down here. They both have employees, way more employees than I have, with incredible wages, very respectable money, which they earn and they should get paid. But they have a gigantic, ultra gifted cover band that's playing music from a very long time ago, for the most part. Yes, they have some sexy new stuff with video game music that the symphony plays, and that stuff is wicked. I think that's great. But to put it on a plane where you are comparing, they sell tickets to shows, they sell food, they sell wine, they have staff, they can get funding, I can't. Why? For profit, not for profit. Bullshit. Like, that money's going in a bank account to continue that endeavor, to make sure that the symphony continues. That's what my bank account is. Whatever money we get, We have repairs. People are stealing our picnic tables out of the back of the bar right now. We have to get a chain to chain them up. We have vandalism. We have all kinds of costs. Can we keep some money in the bank just to keep this thing going the same way the symphony does? Then we have people who book shows, and we have staff, and they have tons of volunteers. So who's going to volunteer at Phog? They'd be like, dude, fuck off. I'm going to volunteer. Like, you make money. Do I? So fixed costs, right? Like, you're looking at a business that's pretty much break even or less, depending on the year. Sometimes it's lean. So I am ineligible for funding. I hold more shows than any symphony in Canada all put together.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not close.
Almost every night.
It's not close.
Yeah.
So again, it's not me. I'm talking about an institution at this point that contributes to the cultural fabric of the city with other groups like no one else does. And I can't get any money for arts funding. The fuck are we talking about? This is the most absurd horseshit I've ever heard. Because you have these people who are in positions that get a salary. We're talking high 5 figures or more.
Yeah.
To do what I do.
That's for
in an
profit.
office and in a suit. It is all about morality. It's all about perspective and respect. And people respect somebody in a tie. Still, it's pathetic. Even us, people and young people. It's not different. They're just like, yeah, but like they do important work. Okay, I don't. We don't. Of course we do. Brian at Creatives isn't doing important. Of course they are by having their space available. And so is Jeff. We should all be eligible for money like that. Mm-hmm. Because that would, if I had a salary, if I made $50,000 with no hours in the bar, do you understand what I would unleash? Like, it's not close. The amount of money that's being given to people who might have one-off projects and are like half-ass, have a thing and then it dies out and they get bored, versus someone who's got 20 years of energy, like who's putting their family's, survival on the line. Give me some money and watch what happens with it. This is where I get really frustrated because it's not just me. There's other people like me. If it was me, I could hire, if I got funding like that, I could hire people and let them bring their influence into what happens in our spaces. Yeah. Because now there's a motivation beyond, I'm doing this with the only motivation is entertainment, support, community. Imagine there's real money. I would go buck wild doing wicked stuff all the time. Yeah. Because you could afford to do it, right? You'd have the ability to take risks and push creative boundaries. And that's what all this funding is supposedly about. Put that behind some other people. It's the same thing in Detroit. They have a better idea of how to fund things in Detroit. But I feel like venue owners, the risks they take for so little reward, beyond the rewards that like feed our souls. Yeah. We are the ones that you should pump some money into because we will light a fire under people's asses. I would take the time to do it. I would take the time to do the thing where I'm right now complaining that people aren't taking ownership of a thing and cultivating it and making it theirs. That would be my job. That would be my job to go out and do that. It'd be crazy. I wouldn't even be doing events just at Phog and Meteor. I'd be doing shit everywhere with money I got for my bar. Everyone would benefit. Yeah. And again, this is not about me. Anybody who's currently, you go talk to the people at Pressure Drop or name people who are doing stuff in space that isn't downtown. They would it would be the same. Yeah. You gave them real money, they would go completely bonkers. It would be the opposite of what people think. You would just sit on your ass because you're making the money. No way. Yeah. It'd be the opposite.
Because you're not a bar. You're a music venue and an art gallery.
Sure. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
I absolutely do see it that way.
Because when do you ever really just sell alcohol?
Like on a night where we're just sitting there having beer.
But there's still art up on the wall. Yeah, so it's still an art gallery. So actually you never just have it as a bar.
That's true. But I do see it that way. So I feel that way when I go in there. That's why when someone pisses in my doorway, I'm like, yeah, this is some CBGB shit. I am not into this. This is garbage. I should not have to tolerate this shit, but that's my job. And I'm okay. I signed up for it. It's what I'm doing. But the idea when funding comes up, good goddamn, I'm so glad. This is a conversation I have not had out loud where I can just put it in perspective. I would love anyone who's listening to tell me I'm wrong. You can call me, message me, text me, email me. I'll get to that in a year. Tell me why I'm wrong.
I don't think anybody would disagree.
And I also would like to talk to anybody who thinks that I'm right and how to remedy that. Because these funding bodies exist for themselves and just this cyclical, let's just keep our jobs, right? People handing out money. It's like, where are the wealthy where are the wealthy people that there are thousands of in this community? Step up, give me $50,000 every year and let me go crazy. If you're not satisfied, don't give it to me the next year. Do I have to ask? Is that what I have to do right here? Come and give me this money. Give me 100. Watch what happens. Because why do I have to beg a funding body for this? It's total horseshit, right? Because I've already proven I'm going to direct the dollars elsewhere. That's what we do. That's the only way we survive. So you wealthy person who's jogging down the Ganacho Trail listening to this podcast right now, write a check. Write a check. So many people with so much money that could be better spent, that would, you find the right person and they will. It's all about investment, right? People who do that want to invest. There's different levels, right? Invest in the creativity, invest in getting their money back. There's different ways.
Yep.
If you actually care about the arts community and you're a wealthy person and you're not doing what I just described to somebody in a position like me or in a creative position who can build the creative community, it is a failure. You failed with your money. Because if you give it to those people, the investment you're not going to get your money back. You're not going to see it in dividends, but you will live in a community that's way more interesting, where people take way more risks with venues in different places. Because right now it sucks to try and do it. Rent is too high. Landlords are dog shit. They are terrible. They don't help. They don't fix things when they're supposed to. Like, it's a tough scene. But if there was real money that would, when you wake up in the morning, you go, oh yeah, I feel good getting up and doing the work because I'm being respected. I'm not being respected. And I am doing it like my life depends on it.
I would be curious to have, I want to have Brian on the show, and now I want to bring this up to him.
He's definitely going to say yes to that. We've had those conversations. I've talked to Adriano at Windsor Eats. He accesses funding, I think, from time to time. He's really smart around tourism dollars. Don't get me started on that shit either. Give me tourism Windsor Essex budget. How about you just give me that? What's that? Millions of dollars every year? You give me that, I will hand it out to 300 people people across Canada would be like, whoa, what kind of shit is Windsor on? What just happened? They have exploded in the world. All I'm hearing about is stuff from Windsor. All I would need is the budget of Tourism Windsor Essex. That's all. No problem. Just give it to me. Let me hand it out. And it would be insane. I love it. And if anyone is listening to this thinking, this guy is nuts, he's totally full of shit, he does not understand. No, I am not nuts. I guarantee things would go like stock, the stock meme, just through the absolute roof of people doing new and interesting things. And it wouldn't take that much. It's just we're stuck in the way things are. Mm-hmm. Those are things that stand out to me. Making sure people know that they should not be taking things for granted. Knowing how strong, like me saying 200 people for fun you could interview. Letting people really let that sink in. God damn, this guy's on the front lines every day. And he's saying there's more than he's ever seen. So I'm not seeing them. Why am I not seeing them? How can I see them? Maybe I should go to these places and look at the posters and look at Instagram posts. Like, I want people to be aware of that. And then the real beefs of being downtown, struggling with those things, my discontent with how funding works and how like totally biased and judgmental it is. Like, yeah, we touched on a bunch of shit that I typically don't get to. And I can answer whatever question you have now. I mean,
well, no, we're
I feel
good.
like that those are things I always want to talk about, and I never get to. So
I'm glad you got to talk about the things you wanted to. Honestly, I'm gonna have you back on because I definitely want to talk about more stuff. But no, we can keep going. We can do another 45 minutes. But we'll just end it whenever you're done. We just end it.
What time it is?
It's 2:30.
Oh, it's early.
So, okay, let's completely switch up the topic.
Yeah.
We were talking about this at the bar a couple weeks ago. We're talking about basketball.
Oh, yeah.
And how you started this thing where you've been traveling around and playing in the street. It's super cool.
Yeah, this is that's why when it's so funny to the throwback to the beginning where people are like, this is Tommy owns Phog. That's even my best basketball buddy will say that to people. But we hang out a lot at the salon he works at, which is Cabello, which is right behind Phog. So he's giving them context like, my very good old friend, we work, 100 feet from each other.
Yeah.
But like basketball people will be like, we went to Catholic Central together and we played basketball and he's doing this with basketball now. So sometimes it's funny, you meet someone and the contextual introduction is what guides anyone's understanding of who you are. And sometimes you'll never touch on what you do professionally, right? And all they know you as is this baller.
Yeah.
And then next time they see you is behind the bar at some experimental music event, and they're like, "What the hell are you doing here?" It's like, this is what I do, like mostly. But yeah, the basketball thing is so exciting because I decided to get stronger when I was like 36. I lost some weight, 35, 36. Why did I lose weight? I didn't get sick. I was like running around. I think I was playing a lot of pickup basketball. But just many games a week, 3, 4. Like my body was still really good and I was scrambling around and I lost weight. I'm like, if I'm ever going to dunk, it's going to be, I think I should go for it. I should do the programs. And I knew a professional dunker. His name's Tyler Ray. He runs his own business. You could look him up. He does like, you pay him and he coaches you in his own space, like this killer space. And basically he's like got online programs you can go and do. But realistically, if you don't have a person that can guide you how to do powerlifting and all this other shit properly, you can get hurt. And I did. I got hurt in my 20s doing a plyometrics program from the internet, from some Air Alert, like VHS or some garbage. So when I went to go figure out at the gym where, shout out Windsor Squash and Fitness, it's the gym I was going to since I was like 17 in high school on and off. But as a total like dink doing bicep curls, like not doing anything good, right? So I just went there and they're like, yeah, you should talk to our trainer. He knows Tyler. He's done this other stuff. And he's like, well, we can do this, but you have to start at 0. Like we need to make sure these things are strong, hip flexors, weird little muscles here and there in your ankles and your shoulders, because it's like a violent thing. You're trying to get off the ground to dunk a basketball. You're 5'9". Like we have a lot of work to do. I couldn't do a push-up. I couldn't do a chin-up. Like leg stuff, I don't know how to do a squat and like shaking afterwards, right? I think I almost vomited my first workout and it was a joke. So that's where it started. It was, I want to dunk. And then it's just like, oh, carrying my children is easier. Moving kegs is easier. Anything that would be related to movement became easier. I'm like, this is really good. Being strong is like good. Mm-hmm. I'm old, but being strong is better. Now I'm faster. I'm running circles around kids in their 20s.
Yep.
Now, tomorrow. Well, I need knee surgery, but the working out has been the best investment for my personal health And this thing that has developed into like basketball tourism that has like fed my soul the same way that the art has is going to other communities where people play, showing up as this, how would you describe me? You wouldn't be like, this guy looks lethal on a basketball court. That's the first real laugh you've heard from. Seriously. So I show up and then I cook them. They're like, what the hell is happening? Where are you from? What is happening? You're an old person. But as my body is breaking down, I wish I'd done this in my 20s, because the community around, I guess I just really like people, but the community is very similar.
Yep.
They are insane in certain parts of the country, in the US, and it's very different. They play different games with different rules to different point amounts. There's no 3-pointers. We don't play full court here. We play for money here. It's wild. But at the core, if you defend and you pass and you rebound and you don't hog the ball, you get respect. People are like, I like this guy. So I've got like phone numbers and emails from people all like from coast to coast. And it's the most fun thing I could think of doing with my time, is going somewhere where you are a complete stranger and then meeting all these guys. And then they're like, yo, take our number. If you ever come back, reach out before you come and we'll make sure that there's a game. We'll make sure we come down, that we're there. It's the greatest. Like, it's so fun. And I wish I could do it more. And because I don't have money, so people are like, didn't you just say you were broke? You can go on Google Flights. I could do it now for fun and look up a weekend flight, something that leaves on a Friday night and comes back on a Sunday night. That's 2 nights. And it's like you can fly to the West Coast for $200.
Yep.
Like, good. Okay. So if I'm not eating, I'm not going out for steak on Erie Street, that's one meal. Like, if you are with a partner and you go eat, forget drinks, you can spend $2 all day on dinner. Okay. So if I'm getting a flight across the country and I'm staying in a hovel or with a friend or another basketball player who I met last time, I'm paying $300 for the entire weekend. That's food for me and my friend and accommodations and flight.
Yeah.
So I like to, my children are basically my reason to exist. They are the best kids in the history of kids. They are absolutely phenomenal. I love spending time with them. There's no one I enjoy spending time with more on the planet. It is a genuine statement. People who know me and my kids know this to be a thing. But when I don't have them, the weekends that they're with their mom, it's like, what am I going to do? I can go to shows, I can do what I do normally, or I can disappear for 2 days and play hoops against total terrifying strangers who are going to threaten my life. And then we're going to, dab each other up and text, and, it's amazing. So I'm meeting musicians on courts.
Yeah. The rapper in New Orleans, right? Isn't he playing at Phog?
Yes. In like July or August. The baller in Detroit that I met was a bartender who told me to go play at that court in New Orleans. And he just did a show at Phog, and it was so lit. It was so fun. And he's such a good guy. And the glue of that is basketball, which is just phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
So the biggest update right now is that me and my buddy who works at the salon, we've known each other since grade 1, and John Mastermatti. So you'll appreciate this. This is a good story. This is a good art, community, and basketball story together. You should go. You probably saw my post about it before we went, but you should go next year. Everyone listening should go next year. A year and a half ago, I get a message from my buddy, Zach, in Detroit. He's in a band called Mexican Knives. Now he's in a band. What the hell is his band now? He's in a new band, but he's like a rocker dude. Long hair, does not look like he would ever play, just like me.
Yeah.
And we had this discussion where it's like, oh, I play basketball. Oh, do you? Yeah, I do. do you play? Yeah, no, I play. Like I play. And we had this little battle of like, no, I actually play real competitive basketball. Well, we'll play one day. Fast forward 12 years. I get a text. Hey man, I see you're posting some basketball stuff, looking pretty good. Like there's a tournament over here, 3-on-3 tournament. Do you want to play in it? I'm like, oh, absolutely. But it's COVID. So COVID ends. They open the border with the arrive can and all that shit. And you had to get the test to come back to Canada.
Yeah.
2 weeks. It was, I think, the second week of March or third week of March or something. So I go over for this tournament. I think I'm going to a gym. No. The tournament is called Foxy's 3-on-3 Basketball Tournament for Friendship and World Peace. And it is in a wedding venue called the Jam Handy. The space is like this beautiful room you would want to have a wedding reception or whatever in. They take down the Edison bulbs in this room and they put a rim on a scissor jack, which sounds like shit. This sounds like the most hack garbage because you can get hurt doing a layup with a rim that's attached to a scissor jack, break your legs on the scissor jack. But they set it up and then they have a DJ booth. I'm going to guess 3-point line to speakers.
Is this on your Facebook?
Yeah.
I'm going to pull it up.
No, it's on my Instagram. Tom Lucier's Instagram.
Okay, I'm going to pull it up.
It's maybe the last post or second last post. So it's 20 feet from 20 feet, 25 feet, speakers to 3-point line. And this year, so anyway, last year we have one of the most rewarding experiences of my entire life was playing in that tournament and losing, right? It was the best. We had so much fun. Met all these people. But imagine the crowd, no bros, zero, no jocks, not one. All like people who look like they hang out at Phog and Villains and Crafted. Super weird. Toques and denim, black denim and long hair and stupid tattoos and ironic sports outfits. This guy wears these silk leopard shorts to play and knee pads. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? And people are kind of in the arts community, music community, but like people can play. Like there's good players there who just know musicians who are connected, right? So they're playing in this tournament. This year, it comes up again, and I get asked to bring a friend. So back to this grade 1 friend of mine, John, Master Matty. I'm like, listen, man, like I could take a 25-year-old that I play against in this city who puts his nose on the rim and have him come out and like just dust these guys. But I'd rather share this experience with the guy I won the grade 8 city championship with at St. Andrews, won the city championship in grade 9 at Catholic Central with, played through high school, played a year of St. Clair College together. I want you to go because you will never forget this experience because he's not in the arts community. Heavy hooper, like he hasn't been playing lately, same age as me. It's like, you're going to never forget this experience, ever. You're going to talk about it maybe every week for the rest of your life. And we might come in last. So he's like hemming and hawing. I'm like sending him these videos and these photos. He's like, oh, right, I remember you telling me. We go over last weekend. And the teams are way bigger, way better. Like everybody leveled up. These are like dangerous dudes, some of them. We win our first game 11-1. We get clapped the second game. Killed like 11-3. Like, what? How did this just happen? Game was like 4.5 minutes long. And we win our next 2-3 games, then the playoffs. We win the tournament.
No way.
Against the team that kicked our ass in the second game.
No way.
And I apologized to them after. I'm like, you guys are so good. I don't even know how we did this. Like, I have so much admiration for how you killed us earlier, how athletic you guys are. So we connected because they play a pickup game in Madison Heights or whatever every week. And they're like, yeah, man, like, get in touch if you want to come run. I'm like, everyone you run with is like this? Because that would be a dirty run. That would be hard to play in full court. So, because I'm old, I'm 43. So anyway, we win this tournament. Him and I are still like on cloud nine. I don't think I'll come down from this high till next year's tournament. But our first game, there was a hardcore band. You couldn't hear the ball bouncing on the ground. I'm not exaggerating. You couldn't hear the ball bouncing, period.
I got to go to this.
It was that loud because the band was 20 to 25 feet away from me where I'm standing taking the ball at the top of the key. It is a show. Everyone there is about what's happening. There's not even a stage. This is on the ground. The first DJ that started the day mic'd the rim and the backboard and put tons of reverb and some other effects. So when you missed, it was like the most painful sound ripping through the building, like reverb, loud. And he was mixing an experimental DJ set with these sounds and spoken word. And it was like ethereal, weird, like nothing you would ever want to hear when you're playing basketball. But that wasn't what it was about. It was about, we're going to do this. This is our thing. You're going to do this. That's your thing. They're going to happen at the same time.
Yeah.
Figure it out. And so that's why the previous year I had so much fun, because it was this apex of everything I care about minus my family, right? It was so perfect. And this year they had 2 DJs, I think, that played Movement the following week.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, dude. They were DJing these. Then one guy was there for like 45 minutes. It sounded like a Greek wedding. This whole set, he looked like Skrillex, like dancing around, going crazy. I'm like, bro, this is like the same song for 45 minutes. This is like Greek Mediterranean wedding music. It's so weird. And we're just laughing like, oh my God, how are we playing basketball to this? So yeah, it was this extremely rewarding experience, and it would have been if we hadn't won. Did not expect to go in and win. And now me and my buddy from, grade 1 have this absolutely untouchable, remarkable experience with Zach, this musician, rocker dad in Detroit, and his neighbor Pete, who he played his ass off. These guys played so hard. Everyone contributed. It was like fantastic. So that is a very long way of saying I am not slowing down. I need a knee surgery because I have a torn meniscus and I should not be playing on it. And it got very bad on last Sunday. And but I'm due. Like I'm going to ask for a cancellation list or something and get it done. And when that's done, I will be like shot out of a rocket again. And I'm not slowing down because it's so fun. Like, again, it's the in-between stuff. It's being able to experience new people and new places and doing this thing that we have in common. It's the same thing as if you were a touring artist.
Yeah.
And I would encourage anyone listening to this, if you have a similar thing, like you can't really do it with golf. You could probably do it with skateboarding.
You can definitely do it. You can get wild.
Very community, right? Yeah. You just show up. But basketball's not like that. And my basketball friends are like, are you psychotic? You just roll up to these beaches, these places, and just say, I'm playing? I'm like, yeah. I just ask, and then they go, okay, whatever. Maybe it takes a little while for them to see you stroking, like making a bunch of shots. Like, damn, this dude can make shots. Okay, let's like get him on our team. But yeah. I encourage anybody, especially people 40 plus, if you can, lose enough weight to not get hurt, get the weight off your legs and go do a thing that you love. It's like runners. This is a very big thing for like marathon runners. They love traveling, but they have tons of money. Like the demographic of people who run marathons and shit, they're very wealthy.
Yeah. 6
figures, like average for people who travel to run. But they get it. They have that community. I'm sure cycling is that way. But it's rare for basketball, and I would highly recommend telling this tale to anybody. Like, ask me. Message me to book an art show. Message me if you want to give me a $50,000 salary to make the art world explode, the music scene. Message me if you want to know how to go travel and play sports against total strangers and earn respect. It's the best. I really am. People ask that question, like, how are you? I got lots of things to complain about, but I am so happy, with my lot. I would like to be able to do more of those things as often as possible.
Yeah, it seems like you do it as much as you want.
Yeah.
I think that what you just said, is the perfect note to end it.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to have
2 questions.
I barely asked one question. There's so much. No, that's perfect. People they see your name, they want to listen to you. I'm glad you just talked, but I definitely want to have you back on.
I don't know how you edit. I don't know how you
just
chop it up. Okay, this is where he went into his tirade about cleaning urine from his front door.
Yeah, I gotta have you back because we gotta go over a million more things.
I think it was funny that you asked me, you were a bit trepidatious. I'm like, bro, I'm in. I'm ready to unleash for a while. Give me topics. I will go.
I'm glad. That's the perfect guest.
I need this though. These are the things that I think it's a good outlet, and I appreciate you for the opportunity, because I hope people listen. I'll tell people to listen because there's things here that I've never expressed to people. Maybe to their faces, because it's like, ooh, this is a bit of an awkward conversation. But these are necessary. It's like letting off steam, being able to just go. Because I don't fear repercussions about these, anything I've said. Because I'm talking with 19 years of experience about a particular thing. If it was new and I'm just a blowhard, that's different. You shouldn't listen to people doing that. Yeah. But I've been doing this a while. I feel like these opinions have been formed by a lot of sacrifice, lots of hours. So you might think I'm a bit of a maniac in how I deliver what I'm saying, but it comes from a lot of introspection. I think a lot about how I spend my time, which is why I'm spending it so differently in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And consider what I said if you're listening to this, if you have something you can contribute, because there's a lot of good stuff going on right now, but we need more.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Tom.
Love it.
Thanks for listening, everybody.